of John Daulo Haitseu. Well, for me, what draws out quite
Hello. You know what is the problem with ANC? They're just waiting for it. When they finish to win, they're gonna forget about it. It's only promising. They are running on the gravy train. People, please. These people, they make me cry. They make me, my tears must fall down. They must stop promises, empty promises.
And those are just some of your WhatsApp voice notes. Please do keep sending them more. And what we want to find out also is what are the main salient points of those People's Manifesto is. Abongile Dumako from Politics has been, of course, watching the speech, and he joins us now in the studio to just take us through it. Some of the more interesting points. Abongile?
Certainly. Good evening, Tsepiso and Stephen. President Cyril Ramaphosa taking to the podium here at that Moses Mabhida Stadium, making it a point that South Africans who are potential voters get a sense of what will happen there. Of course, taking to the podium and making those promises where he felt that a lot needed to be done when it comes to making it a point that this manifesto is a people's-driven manifesto. It's a people's manifesto which will see, many South Africans getting a sense, in fact, getting an idea of how will this government that is yet, in fact, to take to the office will deliver to these citizens. President Cyril Ramaphosa actually reminding those thousands who were at the stadium that there's a lot of strides that have been made by the government thus far, led by the ANC, to make the point that the citizens get to live better compared to what we've seen in the past. And of course, he went on to tell us that the document will actually give guidelines for the next 5 years on how the ANC-led government is going to tackle poverty, inequality, and of course unemployment. President Ramaphosa in his manifesto highlighting that there's critical concerns that have been raised by many people in the country. If you look at the fact that there's been a lot of crime that has been escalating throughout the country, so promising that a lot is going to be done. Looking at the Commission of Inquiry into State Capture underway, actually the SARS Commission that we saw under Judge Nugent going on there, and of course President Cyril Ramaphosa telling South Africans that it's time that public servants get to up their game, and of course politicians who seek to actually continue to loot government states, government public resources for their own gain, saying that they must just refrain from that. He says the legislation is actually being developed to make it a point that this is a thing of the past. President Ramaphosa saying that in a nutshell, the country will succeed in efforts to rebuild the economy if public servants, and of course public servants, are not dishonest and are not lacking integrity in as far as doing their things in office.
It's a fascinating manifesto because it does seem to show evidence of polling, of speaking to people, of actually going to ANC members, speaking to ANC branches, and there's the external message that's coming through. There is, of course, internal politics, and by that, it's one of the themes that's come out through our conversation this evening on The Full View, is about, what do the unions say about this? I was struck by Zingiswa Losi, the leader of COSATU, and I think possibly one of the first women to actually deliver a message of support representing an alliance, a member at a January 8th statement of the ANC. Really strong support coming from her. That might suggest the president can actually push COSATU a little bit along this journey.
Certainly, Zingiswa Losi, first female president of COSATU. It's been a couple of months since she's taken office. Surprised me as well. She actually stood firm there, saying that she's happy as a leader of COSATU that government has taken the necessary steps to make it a point that at least the lives of public servants, the workers in the country, are being taken care of, saying that basically as Abasebens, that is now the workers, they are willing to continue to support government. They are willing to continue to support all the public servants to make it a point that the mission is accomplished, to actually make it a point that the economy of the country continues to benefit, actually priding herself of the fact that the national minimum wage has been implemented under the leadership of the ANC led by President Cyril Ramaphosa.
One of the things, Abongile, that I'm surprised actually none of us have spoken about, that the president said that they are looking at reducing data, especially for young people. Now, if you're talking about campaigning and electioneering, that certainly surely is something that is going to get young people, those 3 million yet unregistered voters, to rally behind the ANC.
Yes, of course, going on to say that, those young people who want to actually venture into, the workspace, having no experience, now the ANC has actually made it a point that at least the potential employers don't entirely look at the, what experience have you got, because for one to get experience, they need to be given an opportunity at an organization or a company. And of course, young people, you understand that some of them, as we actually enter into the new academic year, they utilize their very data to actually get a sense of what is happening in terms of doing the assignments, in terms of making the point that they are part of, the education landscape, and of course develop themselves through the internet. Data, the hashtag data must fall, it seems it's gaining momentum in the sense that at least now the ANC-led government is willing to sort of come to the fore and of course deliver in as far as that is concerned.
It's going to be a series of conversations, I'm sure, from older people, the cynics, the ones who are going to turn around and say, freer data, cheaper data, Twitter, that's just what we need, is what some people are going to be saying. What else struck you today, Abongile?
Basically, the ANC has actually been calling for harsher sentences for perpetrators of gender-based violence. You've seen a lot of, gender-based violence escalating in the country, saying that President Ramaphosa saying that this is a national crisis, meaning that a lot of, citizens in the country need to take to the fore and make it a point that at least, they continue to make it a point that violence against women is a thing of the past. And of course, coming to the fore, appealing to stakeholders who are part of government to actually come and meet government halfway in as far as making it a point that at least, jobs, the much needed jobs are created. Jobs. Every single person that we as SABC speak to in as far as what they expect, from government, jobs. We hope that that call to stakeholders in government will be heard so that we can see young people being employed in the country. Finally, from my side, I actually was struck by the fact that they're going to go out now to rural areas. As a country boy, the boy from the countryside, I was touched by the fact that, women are going to be taken into consideration, young people, to make it a point that they are part of, growing the country's economy, which will actually benefit all South Africans, and everybody can actually benefit from the country's economy.
So the president saying 2019 is the year of a united action to grow South Africa. But he did also mention various things on foreign policy, Abongile, and the Middle East, especially with regards to Palestine and Israel, reaffirming the ANC's support for a two-state solution and condemning occupied territory. Do you think that it's likely that we're going to see sterner, hardened action by the governing party, especially towards Israel, given the fact that there was momentum of downgrading the status of the country in South Africa?
Well, certainly President Cyril Ramaphosa did confirm and actually assure South Africans that, as the country, and of course you understand, that our country has taken a non-permanent seat at the United Nations. He's saying that they're going to drive, for unity, for peace across the world, going on to say that as South Africa, they are willing to partake, in whatever that is being, developed, to make it a point that we are living in harmony as citizens of the world, and of course to make it a point that even Cuba, just does benefit from talks that will sort of yield positive results, and then we see peace in our country. Sepiso?
Thanks, Abongile. And Stephen, and I'm sure we'll unpack some of that a lot later as well.
Yeah, plenty to come on The Full View tonight. Don't forget that conversation, of course, with Nomisa Mabena about what happened yesterday. All of that to come. Sports Live is next. We'll be back at the top of the hour. We play out with some of the performances at the ANC's Election Manifesto launch earlier in the day.
We are outside Layar School, Swaziareneke, where members are picketing against a picture that went viral.
What else do you want to see happen in a country?
Peace, security, and respect of human rights.
It's a bit nervous because it's a new start, it's a new environment.
I'm looking forward to learning new things.
We are at the forefront of Africa's tech discussion.
We're already planning for the 5G spectrum to be licensed by 2020.
In Mauritius, for fiber migration, we had a strategy. On network, we have gadgets, robots, and more.
We focus on investing in entrepreneurs and technology in emerging markets.
There's technology and social media news on network with Ms. Pumene Zondi every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. and every Sunday at 5:30 p.m.
On Media Monitor, we leave no stones unturned.
We don't have shared principles when it comes to media freedom.
From the integrity of journalists to accusations of fake news.
If anybody comes with an alternative view, he starts referring to it as fake news.
We also look at the safety of our journalists while covering stories on the field.
This is something that we're faced with daily, from journalists who say they've been physically or verbally attacked by community members.
Watch Media Monitor Sundays at 9 a.m.
Buildings, submerged homes and devastated